this video, I'm going to show you the simplest and easiest way to build an upholstered bed for under $150 with just a drill and a circular saw. We're the White family. We live in rural Alaska, and for us, it's DIY all day, every day. We tried to simplify the process as much as possible, and I believe that most anybody can tackle this project, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, so let's start with the headboard. We'll just build a simple 2x2 frame for the headboard, and then what I'll do is cover it in some paneling or plywood or something, whatever we have on hand. And then we'll cover that in upholstery, and that'll be the headboard. Now for the bed. So we'll build a 2x4 frame the size of the mattress, and then we'll add these hairpin legs to the bottom. And then we'll attach the headboard to the front of it. And then we'll take 1x8s and we'll wrap them in upholstery fabric and screw those to the side rails, and then do that to the end of the bed, and then add some slats, and we're done. Now it's time to pick out the fabric. We were shopping for a velvet fabric, but when we saw the pink fur, that was it. Grace was like, this is the one, and I said, why not? Alright guys, we're getting started on this headboard, and I want to keep this as simple as possible with the least amount of tools so that the most people can build it. So I'm going to build this project with just a circular saw and a drill. And you can buy a drill and a circular saw in a combo kit for about 99 bucks. If you don't have a saw, you can ask your hardware store if they'll make the board cuts for you. A lot of times they'll do that for free or for a very minimal charge. If you just have a circular saw to cut with, this is how I'm going to recommend you cut. So this is one of the 2x4 boards that we'll need. Just go ahead and mark the length that you need. Then if you have a square, that's really nice. You can go ahead and mark that line all the way across. If you'll notice, I have a piece of styrofoam here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my circular saw blade depth to just past the depth of the 2x4s. Pretty good square cut with just basic tools. And keep cutting. So I got all the boards cut, and that was pretty easy to do, just using my circular saw. But now I gotta cut the plywood panel for the back. And I'll show you what I'm gonna do. So we had this extra paneling left over. Whatever you put on the back doesn't have to be anything real sturdy, it's non-structural. But you do wanna make sure it's thick enough, like if somebody pushed their head against it, it's not gonna cave in. So when I've seen paneling, like if you can get it on clearance, because it doesn't matter what it looks like, for like $5 a sheet. So you can really get a bargain with it. I'm going to readjust my saw blade. I'm going to take the battery out. Now I gotta cut it the other way, so go ahead and do that. Now my foam isn't big enough here, so what I'm gonna do is cut half of it and then readjust and cut the other half. Alright, so I think we're done with the saw. We're gonna start assembling this bed. going to start with the headboard first, and then we'll set that aside and work on the bed frame. So what I've got going on here is these are 3-inch wood screws. They're number 8s and they're self-tapping, so you don't have to pre-drill them. And they're a star bit. All right, and I'm just going to screw it all together. So what happened is this is kind of a heavier drill, so I found it was easier to work with gravity pushing down on the screw than it was to work flat on the floor. That's a lot easier. I had to step up on a stool though. So one thing I've learned, if something isn't going quite right when you're building, there is alternatives. You can just reposition your project or try working at a different angle. There's usually an easy solution to just about any challenge. All right, so then I just added this center one because that paneling isn't the strongest. So I got the basic shape of the headboard done. Also wanted to say you could just cut a piece of like 3/4 inch plywood and achieve the same thing. The reason that I didn't do it is because it would be really heavy and it would be only 3/4 inch thick and it would be more expensive. So I thought this would be like a cheaper, lighter weight, easier alternative. Done, so I'm going to get this out of the way and start working on the bed frame.
How many hours a day do you play hockey? Do you know? Probably more than 2. Probably more than 3. Probably more like 4, yeah.
All right, and I got the bed frame down and I'm gonna start screwing it together. All right, bed frame done. And I always put this middle thing in for queens and fulls because then your slats don't have to span as far. All right, so we're gonna put the legs on this thing and it'll start looking like a bed. So we found these red hairpin legs on Amazon for, I think they were like $14 for the set of 4. And they're really heavy duty and they're perfect, but they're red. So Grace has requested that we spray paint them gold. The red's gonna be hard to cover, but the gold ones were like 40 bucks.
Were they real gold?
Maybe they were real gold. That's the great thing about hardware. If you don't like the color, you can just grab a can of spray paint and customize it to your heart's content. Looks good. And one thing I want to point out at this point is if you're doing like a king size bed or you're expecting like a lot of weight on the bed, you can also add 2x4 legs in the center and that would really add a lot of strength. I'm going to move on to the upholstery part. And this is what Grace chose for a fabric. Right? Why not? She's 12 and this is the only time in her life she's probably going to want a fur headboard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the headboard width this way and then I'll get the footboard piece out of that same piece first.
should get a comb and comb it.
I'm going to just repeat those steps with the 1x8 boards that I cut. So we got all the upholstery wrapped around the outer boards, and so now we're just going to start attaching it. So I've got 2-inch screws, and these will go through here into the back side of those 1x8s. So it's a 2-person job, so I got Grace here, it's her bed, so she's going to give me a hand. So flip that over so that the side is on the top. Yep. And just hold it out here. So you use your fingers and you'll feel it sort of flush to the bottom there. Okay, I got one screw in. Let me do this other. Grace, you like it?
Yeah.
It's unique, isn't it? Yeah. So, only kid in 6th grade to have a shaggy dog bed.
Not shaggy dog.
Okay, this fur pretty cool for junior hires right now.
I don't know. I
Push.
just like it.
Push against me. We're putting in the slats in the bed, and I just wanted to show you guys a another way to do slats that could save you some money. So instead of having to go out and buy 60-inch long slats to make this bed, what you can do is use scraps that they have to be at least half as long. So these are 32. So you can get 3 32-inch slats out of 8-foot board, or if you have, like what we're doing here is this is all plywood scraps that we all that we found, and then you can just overlap it down the center and screw it down. I'm so thankful to be able to do projects like this for my family. The happiness and the joy that it brings to my daughter's space just makes everything worth it. There's no way we could go out and spend, you know, a couple $1,000s on a pink fur bed. It just wouldn't make any sense. But to be able to spend $150 and a day working on it, that does make sense, and I can give her things that otherwise would be, you know, untouchable. So really grateful to have a little bit of working knowledge and to have a couple tools and to be able to do this for her. You know what, when you're old like me, there's no way you could get away with a pink fluffy bed, so I say rock it when you're down. Okay, what's your one word to describe it? Fancy, pretty, comfy. Alright guys, that's it. Another project done for the week. We love how this bed turned out and are really excited to share the plans with you. You can find that link in the description below, and if you have a second, leave us a comment or give us a thumbs up. Let us know what you thought of this project. If you build, make sure you share so we can see how your projects turn out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Monday. It's perfect in here, getting ready to lounge and drink soda and eat popcorn.
Can I have a mini fridge in here? Are you serious?
I'm not ready for this. Are you ready for this?
I can have a mini fridge?
If you, we'll talk about the mini fridge.
I like my bed because it's nice and pink and fluffy. It's not too girly, but it's just right for me.
It's not too little kiddish.
Yeah, that's too. It's very sturdy and comfortable.
What's sturdy?
And I like my bed. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. When I saw the pink fur, I knew it was
fight.
it.
Let's have a car fight, Bo.